Hi, I'm Emily Mallwood. I am a painter and I live in Little Rock. I mostly paint portraits, but have really gotten into painting flowers, surprisingly, in the last year or so. I've taught at the Art Center for about 10 years and just taught in general for about 15 years. It's with the Argentina Mural project, and it started probably a year and a half ago. They started gathering up artists, and it was supposed to be kind of a collaborative thing, and it still kind of is. We submitted some ideas for different things, and me being a portrait painter, I submitted some portraits, and then eventually the John Godin he gave me some portraits to do. Like, he told me, I want to do like a series of heroes. And so he gave me 6 heroes that he wanted done. And I think he asked several different artists, and then he ended up choosing the ones that I had sketched out. And it took about 2 weeks, but I just finished the actual painting. But that process started like, a year ago at least. So they're, a series of 6 different heroes. It's Ruth Bader Ginsburg, John Lewis, Anthony Fauci, Greta Thunberg, Chef Jose Andre, and Maya Angelou. Is that 6? So yeah, it was really fun. It's the first one I've done. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I did like one of the electric boxes years ago. It's still there though, but that was kind of the first public art thing I did. But this is really the first mural I've done. And so it was a great opportunity because I never done one before, but I was curious if I would like it. And since this was kind of a collaborative thing, and there were artists involved that had done murals, I knew that I could learn from them, and I have. Luckily, as I've been painting mine, Robin Tucker and Michael Church are working on one right behind me. And so it's been great to be able to talk to them, because they've already done, Robin's been doing them for years, but they've already done a couple. And so it was good to get advice and stuff from them and learn stuff. But yeah. I learned to paint oil, but then I quickly moved to acrylic, and I painted, with acrylic. My master's thesis, I used acrylic, and so I did that for years, but only since I had kids, I started doing watercolor, just because it was super easy to, pick up and put down and do in small increments. It's really quick and fresh. And so now I'm just kind of jumping back and forth between acrylic and watercolor, and doing, I've always done portraits, and painted people. But just since the pandemic, really, I started doing flowers, which I never thought I would do. But I've done a lot of flowers in the last year, hundreds. And it all started because I was actually supposed to teach a workshop right when the pandemic started, and I wanted to do a plein air workshop in a garden, and someone, Jeannie at Zigzag, that's an art studio in town, had asked me to do this workshop, and I was collaborating with Felder Farm and Stiff Station, was where we were going to do the workshop. And so just to kind of get ready for the workshop, I painted a few flowers and, was just kind of getting the hang of it so I could, teach it really well. And then I kind of got hooked on it, very unexpectedly, because it just seemed such a predictable and cheesy thing to do, I guess, was to paint watercolor flowers. But I don't know, I just got a lot out of it, a lot of satisfaction and joy, and that's exactly what I needed through the pandemic, was to just have something that I could do that made me happy. And I could do, because my kids were at home, school was closed. And so I needed something I could do in small increments again and feel like I had accomplished something and was still making art. So, okay, when I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I stayed home with them until they were old enough to go to school. And so that's right, that I just sent the youngest one to school and then the pandemic hit. And so I was like really upset and angry for lots of reasons, but as far as art goes, that I couldn't have my studio time like I thought I was about to have, like a lot more than I had been. And also I was just starting to go back I had taken time off from teaching at the art center, and I had just started going back to teach at the art center when the pandemic hit. And so I wasn't teaching, and like I said, I was having to be at home with the kids, and they're little, and it's hard to really do a whole lot of art making. But I started, like I said, doing the flowers, and it was a good thing to do at the time. And I think for a while I wouldn't have done that because I was trying to do work that was a little more thought-provoking and had a little more meat to it. But I think when the pandemic was just so much, it was so heavy and so just sad and just all of these things, and I just didn't want to think really hard about this conceptual work or anything like that. I just needed something to make me happy, like on the surface, and just to get through the day. And painting the flowers did that. And so that was definitely a big change in what I had been doing with my work. I guess I got to the point where I was like, I don't care. I just need to do whatever makes me happy in this moment. And that's what the painting flowers did. And so I think that was a good lesson also, because it's like, well, I kind of want that all the time, right? Like, not just when there's a pandemic, but yeah. Well, like, I was talking about the murals, and that's been a long project because I did like the sketches for them, that were just, small, but they were painted acrylic sketches of, the proposal, I guess, for the mural. And, when I posted some, they were like, people were like, I want to buy a print. And so I started making prints, which I had never really done much of. And so now I'm like selling a lot of prints, around a different shop, not necessarily galleries, but other shops in town and I hadn't ever really looked into that much or done that much before, looking more into selling in retail spaces and other things. I'd more concentrated on fine art and galleries and stuff. So I guess I'm kind of in this mode of deciding if I want to go into that more or step back into the fine art a little bit more. But I think I can do both, kind of go back and forth. I think that's fine. I think for a little while I was scared to do that. I don't know, it felt like I had to commit to one or the other, but I think I can do both. So, commissions are a constant thing that I'm doing. I'm always have a list of commissions that I'm working on. And I'm doing just immediately, I've got all these flowers that I've done a whole bunch, and I need something cool to do with them. Last year, I surrounded this room with them. They were on top of each other, just I covered every square inch. And so I guess it was kind of an installation of them. And so I did do I submitted the installation of flowers to some shows and got in some shows doing that. And so I guess I'm still trying to think what else can I do with them besides just the obvious sell them as finished painting, But I'm doing a clothesline art show on May 1st in Hillcrest, along Kavanaugh, in front of the Box Turtle and Gallery 26. And so I'm going to string up, along with some other artists, from Gallery 26, Matthew Castello, Diane Harper, Sulak, and Lois Sand. I think that's all. Are going to be in front of Gallery 26, all of their work and mine. And then in front of the Box Turtle will be myself and Ashley Sayre. because those are just like artists that already have work in those individual places. So ask them to join me. So that's just the next immediate thing is doing the clothesline art show and trying to, I guess, sell some of the flowers. But I'd like to think about what else I can do with them and where they can go. And if there's a way to like combine my portrait work with the flowers, like, I don't know, I've done a lot of experimenting with that. I have a residency coming up this summer. I've never done an artist residency before. It's in Tennessee, just like in rural Tennessee, at this place called Stay Home Gallery and Residency. And so I'm gonna see what happens there too. I look forward to that. Thanks for listening to this interview. I'm Emily Mallwood, and you can find me on my website at emilywoodart.com or my Instagram. I'm pretty active on there, more so than Facebook, and it's ewoodart. My Facebook is Emily Wood Art, and I'm doing some workshops that you can sign up for if there's still room through their watercolor, painting watercolor flowers workshops at Bella Vita and through Zigzag at Felder Farm this spring. So if you want to paint with me in the garden or at Bella Vita, sign up for those on their websites. And yeah, come to the Clothesline Art Show on May 1st on Kavanaugh in front of Gallery 26 and the Box Turtle. Thanks.